Ace of Hearts is Margaret S. Hamilton's third published short story set in New Orleans, a city she knows and loves, from the manicured acres of City Park to the potholed streets of the Lower Garden District. New Orleans is a city defined by food, fried oyster po' boys, Abita beer, beignets, and chicory coffee. A city of haunting jazz melodies and spectacular Mardi Gras parades. A city that survives adversity and thrives, like Calliope Hebert, the main character of this story. Welcome to Mysteries to Die For.
Poi boys, that's how you pronounce them?
Are you going to play that intro
Poi
again?
boys?
You
Poi
want
boy?
to try hitting all the notes this time?
I'll hit all the notes twice even if you really want me to, Mrs. Poi boy.
Stop.
There we go,
Welcome
Poi boys.
back to Mysteries to Die For. I am TG Wolff, and I'm here with Jack, my piano player and producer. This is a podcast where we combine storytelling with original music to put you in the heart of a mystery. All stories are structured to challenge you to beat the detective to the solution. Jack and I perform these live, front to back, no breaks, no fakes, no retakes. The rules for law and order create the boundaries for civil coexistence and ideally the backdrops for individuals and families and companies to grow and thrive. Breaking these rules puts civil order at risk. And while murder is the big daddy of crimes, codified ordinances across municipal subdivisions, counties, states, and countries show the nearly endless ways there are to create mayhem. This season, we put our detective skills to the test. This is Season 8, Anything But Murder. All right, and we are in Episode 8, where witness intimidation is our featured murderless crime. This is Ace of Hearts by Margaret S. Hamilton. All right, did you pick a instrument and a chord progression?
Ace of Hearts.
Ace of Hearts.
What do you think that means? You know, as far as instruments.
Oh.
Maybe a synthesizer. Oh yeah.
You could do something jazzy here because it is set in New Orleans.
Really? Techno isn't jazzy?
I don't know. Techno's techno.
Yeah, you're right. Fine. Let's go with a bass.
You're going to make it swing?
Problem with the bass is a lot of times you can't hear it over, like, the recording.
It's too low.
Yeah. What else is bassy? An accordion. Accordion's jazzy, right?
Polka-y.
No, it is not. All right, Jack, you got to pick something. Let's go with hard brass. No.
How about a jazz piano?
Yeah, well, here's the thing about jazz piano. It's just a regular piano, but you know how to play it jazzy, and I don't.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
All right. You're happy with that?
Happy enough. Let's do it.
All right. We are going to start with Chapter 1, Who's in Charge? Tapping the steering wheel in sync with the jazz beat of WWOZ, Calliope Hebert whipped a U-turn on St. Paul Street and waited for the mover's trust to back out of Mama's driveway. The day marked the start of her mother's new life in Mid-City, creating ball gowns for the New Orleans elite in her House of Rising Sun custom dress business. Narrowly missing the overhanging branches of live oak trees, the truck lumbered toward Canal Street. Callie flipped on her signal, but as she started to turn, a black Escalade cut her off and pulled into the driveway. John Reardon, well on his way to obesity, climbed out of the car and, leaving the motor running, clambered up the steep flight of brick steps to the front porch. Kelly nosed into the parking space between the curbside clutter of garbage and recycling carts and slammed her car door. Reardon was bad news, the topic of many parental arguments during her childhood. Mama called him a gangster, but Daddy said the rich lived by their own rules. Reardon had paid Daddy well enough to feed and educate his family. Callie moved silently up the steps in her rubber Crocs to join her mother. Mama slipped something into the gap in the siding, before she smoothed wood filler over the opening. After she pounded the final nail attaching her new business sign over the gap, she turned to confront Reardon, holding her hammer at the ready. "What do you want, John?" Sweat soaked the back of his dress shirt, his linen slacks a wrinkled mess. Callie pressed video on her phone, curious why he was paying Mama a visit. Rich or poor, Callie didn't trust John Reardon. Terpsichore, I see you're back in business, he said.
What was that for?
Because I couldn't remember how to pronounce her name.
Oh my gosh.
We just practice it like
Terpsichore.
We just practice it like 30
I was
times.
like, I looked over. It's not a chapter break. What's going on?
I blanked. My mind just went blank. Terpsichore.
All right. Not terpsichore.
Stop doing that. That's what messed me up. Terpsichore. You see what he does to me when the thing's not rolling? He messes with me.
No.
Terpsichore.
Not me. I wouldn't do that. All right. Let's learn about terpsichore. Not terpsichore.
Don't do it. Terpsichore. I see you're back in business, he said. Mama, one of the 5 bro sisters named for the Greek muses, brandished her hammer. My place is completely renovated and paid for, no thanks to you. Reardon towered over Mama. Did you kill Ace? Her voice tinged with grief. She spoke one word at a time. No, I didn't kill my husband. Collect a bundle of life insurance after you made him disappear? Reardon ran a finger around his tight shirt collar. Rivulets of sweat ran down his neck. My husband vanished in April and it's now October. That's all I know. Mama prodded Reardon's gut with the hammer. Your clothes could do with some tailoring. I'd be happy to recommend someone. Callie held her phone at shoulder height an inch closer. The back of Reardon's neck turned red. You're in violation of city zoning, running a business in a residential neighborhood. Reardon fumed. I could have you shut down in a heartbeat. Still holding the hammer, Mama flexed her hand and wrist. We have a local neighborhood initiative. Accountants, piano teachers, and all kinds of folks working out of their homes. It makes for a safer area, having people around during the day. Callie's 3 sisters, also bearing muses' names, appeared at the base of the steps. Mama, who's blocking the driveway? Reardon stepped back. What about brothel laws? How many girls do you have working here? Oh, Callie heard enough. She tapped Reardon on the shoulder and continued to film her video. Urban myth, ask any lawyer. These so-called girls are my sisters, and we all live here with our mama. She gestured toward the stairs. It's time for you to leave. In addition to polluting the air with your car exhaust, you're trespassing. Are you happy mopping the floors in a hospital? Reardon sneered. You could do a lot better working for me. Callie zoomed her phone to focus on his face. I make an honest living as a lab technician. Ace Air Bear stole something from me, and I want it back. Reardon blustered, crossing his arms over his chest. Mama tapped her open palm with the hammer. Don't know what you're talking about. Reardon, you're blocking the driveway with your engine running. Get out of here before I call a patrol car. Tex Smith, NEOPD detective and Daddy's friend, stood on the sidewalk in front of the duplex. Now, Reardon, next time you harass the A-Bear women, you're taking a trip to the department. Reardon slammed his car door and, without looking, backed the Escalade into the street. Drivers in both lanes hit their brakes and blasted their horns. He raised his arm. Tex stepped to the street. Let him leave, folks. Reardon tore down St. Paul Street and ran the light at Canal. It seemed he couldn't get away fast enough. Mama shook her head. I had hoped I was finally free of that man. Me too. Callie slid her phone into her pocket. I'll move my car into the driveway. As she opened the front door, Mama called over her shoulder. Could you grab some bags of ice at the gas station? We'll need them for the housewarming party. Friend or foe? Callie joined her sisters on the sidewalk. I'm due at work at 5 tomorrow morning, so I'm the last one in the driveway. Who is that guy? A friend of Mama's? One of her sisters asked. Daddy's old boss, John Reardon. Callie opened her car door, revealing a bakery box on the front seat. Let's get moving. I need to help Mama set up for the party. Ooh, donuts from the Blue Dot? Her sister squealed. Callie started her car. End of the day leftovers. I'm working the early morning shift at the Dot on weekends, starting tomorrow. Tex joined the sisters on the sidewalk. Muses, I'll direct traffic to make sure you get in the driveway. Wouldn't say no to one of those donuts either. Callie handed the box out the passenger window to him. Help yourself, and thanks for getting rid of Reardon. He tried to shake down the day manager at my place. I set him straight. Tex and his extended family owned the Shell station on the corner of Canal Street. I'm heading there now. I'll be over soon. Mama needs ice. Callie eased her battered Civic into the driveway, nudging the bumper of her sister's car. She climbed the 2 flights of stairs, first exterior and then interior, to reach the upper unit where she would live with her 3 sisters. Callie's phone chimed a text from one of her sisters. Come quick! Dead rat on Mama's doormat. Callie raced back down the back stairs and burst into Mama's kitchen. I need rubber gloves and 2 plastic bags. What on earth? Mama wiped her face. You promised you'd get ice from the gas station. In a minute. Callie opened Mama's front door and found a plump rat draped across the doormat, blood oozing from its mouth. The sister who had alerted her hadn't waited to help Callie clean up. Warfarin's getting them every time. I wonder who left a welcome gift for us. She pulled on the gloves, lifted the rat by its tail, and dropped it inside a double plastic bag. The rat might symbolize death or ratting someone out. The recipient of the implied message could be her daddy or her mama. After tying several knots, Callie carried the bag down to the curbside garbage cart and placed it on the ground. After she pulled the 2 playing cards tucked under the lid, Callie dumped the bag rat inside. Still wearing her gloves, Callie inspected the cards. 2 queens of spades from identical decks. Trouble, no doubt. Her brow furrowed, she walked to the end of the driveway. A 3rd playing card laid on her windshield. Callie lifted the wiper blade and snatched it. Queen of clubs. Her daddy's name for her. The queen supposedly intuitive and knowledgeable. A phone number with a New Orleans 504 area code was scribbled on the card. Callie pocketed the cards and the gloves before she headed for the Shell station, where she asked Tex for bagged ice. Tex walked her to the side of the building. Sorry to disturb you folks, but this lady would like some ice. A group of homeless men and women greeted her, one opening the ice container door with a flourish. How many do you need? Tex asked. Well, if your boys can help me, I'll take 8. The Muses, Terp's sisters and daughters, will be partying tonight. I'll round up the boys and have them bring the ice in a few minutes. Tex patted her shoulder. No payment needed. Your daddy and I go way back. I should tell you something. Callie showed him 2 of the 3 playing cards. These 2 Queen of Spades cards were stuck in the lid of our trash can. Someone who knows about Daddy's habit of leaving playing cards is trying to intimidate me and my family. In addition, not more than half an hour ago, someone left a dead rat on Mama's doormat. She shuddered. Tex's face turned to carved stone. I have no idea who might have left the cards and the rat. Please keep in touch, especially if John Reardon threatened your mama or sisters. You got my cell number? Send me the video I saw you filming of Terp's conversation with him. Why are you interested in Mama's business? Callie asked. Police investigation. Tex didn't elaborate. Callie first sent the video to her work email and then to Tex. Mama had Callie and her sisters. They didn't need Tex meddling in their lives. The Queen of Clubs card was a personal message to Callie. But who had left it? The Muses come to dinner. An Uber van stopped at the end of Mama's driveway. Terp's sisters are here, Callie said. Come say hello to the Muses. Tex greeted the women before his sons helped him haul bags of ice up the steps and dump them into 2 wash tubs. Smells wonderful, ladies. What have y'all brought? Terp held the front door open. Each sister is supplying her specialty. She ticked off the items on her finger. We should have queso and guacamole dips, plus deviled eggs, red beans and rice, crawfish mac and cheese, chicken gumbo, jalapeno cornbread, and, she pulled back a foil cover, praline brownies for dessert with French truck coffee. Terp ushered her sisters inside and pointed to 2 wash tubs on the porch. Girls, after the ice arrives, please dump them in the tubs with the beer. Terp, here's the lipstick you wanted. One of her sisters handed Mama a small silver tube. Tex and his sons wished Terp happiness in her home and left. Terp invited her sisters inside to set up the dinner buffet. With the muses gathering in full swing, Callie sat on the porch and watched the empties pile up. Mama joined her for a breather. What's on your mind, Callie? Never one to sit idle, Mama pulled a wad of ecru satin from her apron pocket and started attaching lace trim to it with almost invisible stitches. The fabric gradually took on the shape of a round, plump pincushion, probably filled with Mama's usual emery sand to give it weight and sharpened pins and needles. Callie took a swig of her Abita. Tell me about the House of the Rising Sun. I always thought the song mirrored your life as you built your dressmaking business. You told us Daddy gave up drinking and gambling when I was born. That's right, sugar, Mama patted Callie's knee. But for my business to succeed, Daddy had to work for John Reardon. The man's lowlife. He used to run a production racket, and I suspect he's into something more lucrative these days. Guns, drugs, or human trafficking. He probably has local police and the district attorney on his payroll. Mama bit the final thread before she showed the finished work to Callie. During the move, I found scraps of my wedding dress and trimmings. I made one pincushion a long time ago, probably when you were a baby. I'm finally finishing this one. My wedding day was the happiest day of my life, until you and your sisters were born. Mama slipped the pincushion into her pocket and fished out an Abita out of the wash tub. Reardon won't leave me alone until Ace turns up, dead or alive. No use asking her mother. Callie believed Mama didn't know what had happened to her husband. What will Reardon do to you? Mama sipped her beer. Badmouth my ball gowns, break windows, trash the house, and try to burn it down. She smiled at Callie. Tex helped me find this place and fix it up. He warned me about Reardon, and I agreed to keep him informed. He'll look after us. Now that I've got the space to expand my business, I'll be able to help you girls pay your tuition bills. Did Mama trust Tex? Callie was undecided about him. I know Daddy left everything behind. Laptop with the hard drive wiped clean, driver's license, credit cards. Any idea what he supposedly stole from Reardon? Mama adjusted the straps on her sundress. Not a thing. The police searched our place and went through my phone and computer. They let me keep Ace's last voicemail. Mama's voice slowed and her eyes teared. He told me to remember our wedding day. Mama joined her sisters inside while Callie stayed on the porch. After Daddy had disappeared in the spring, no trace of him was ever found. He'd put their joint savings and the deed to the house in Mama's name. After she sold the shotgun cottage in an up-and-coming area, Mama had enough money to pay cash for the duplex, renovate the kitchen and the bathrooms, and install central air. Callie pulled the 3 playing cards from her pocket and tapped them on the table. Queen of Spades meant trouble, no getting around it, though she couldn't recall 2 hostile women in her mother's life. Mama's clients loved her and valued her dressmaking skills. Already booked solid creating gowns for Christmas and Mardi Gras balls, Mama was turning away dress orders for spring weddings. Callie joined her mother, 4 aunts, and 3 sisters in the buffet line before they sat down at Terp's new dining room table, long enough to accommodate 9 chairs. After circling the group, pouring wine, Callie took her place at the end of the table, near the living room. She closed her eyes and savored her first bite of red beans and rice, and andouille. Pure bliss on a fork. Callie raised her glass to toast the muses, her mother, aunts, and sisters. Terp's sisters had unpacked and arranged Mama's collection of crew of muses decorated stiletto heels on glass shelves in the dining room. The all-female crew decorated the heels to use as throws from the float during their annual Mardi Gras parade appearance. Shelves of glittery shoes weren't for everyone, but with Terp's being one of the iconic muse names, the decorations were obligatory in New Orleans. Mama's clients had given her many of the ornate shoes. Mama seemed unperturbed by Reardon's threats, but Callie braced herself for more trouble. Tex might be a friend, or he might be after the same information that Reardon was after. Uninvited guests. A draft wafted past Callie. As she turned to check the front door from the seat in the dining room, two blonde women pushed their way inside. The older woman, whose spandex fitness wear bulged in all the wrong places, marched into the dining room. The younger one, probably her daughter, was trending to the same body shape, followed her. They both sported what New Orleanians called big Texas hair. "Excuse me," Callie said. "Are you in the right house?" The daughter spoke first. "Terp has something of ours, and we've come to collect it." "You're interrupting a private party." Callie glared at them, hands on her hips. Callie's aunts whispered to each other while her siblings sat still, bewildered and speechless. Terp stood up. "Bridget and Kelly Reardon, I'll ask you to leave." Callie's heart pounded. Another threat from John Reardon. Were the women the two queens of spades? Maybe Tex could get rid of them. She stepped to one side and sent him a text. Reardon, wife, and daughter were making trouble. Bridget approached the wall of stilettos. Ace supposedly hid something of John's in a muse's shoe. Callie eyed the women, wondering if they had weapons stuffed in their spandex. "Time to go, ladies, before I call the police." Terp shouted, "Muses now!" Her sisters and daughters surrounded the Reardon wife and daughter, pushing them toward the front door, Terp bringing up the rear. "Stay out of my home!" She slammed the front door and leaned against it, breathing heavily. Callie's aunts and sisters, chattering at top volume, made their way back to the dining room table. 5 minutes later, someone knocked and called, "Callie, got your text." Terp yanked the door open to Tex Smith. "Bridget and Kelly paid us a visit, claiming Ace left something that belonged to John Reardon in a muse's shoe. I booted them out of here." "I saw them speeding down the street in Reardon's Escalade," Tex said. "Good work getting rid of them. I'll help you bring what's left of the beer inside." As Tex left, he said, "Terp, make sure the windows and doors are locked." "You think they'll be back?" Callie asked. "No idea. You ladies come across anything Ace left behind?" "No." Callie locked the door behind Tex. Was he after the same information Reardon was? Terp brewed espresso with fresh French truck beans and passed plates of praline brownies. Her aunts left half an hour later. After Callie and her sisters had shined up the kitchen, Callie found Terp slumped in a chair in her bedroom. "Mama, we need to talk." Callie pulled a footstool close to Terp's chair. "Reardon is convinced that Daddy stole something. Any idea what it could be and where it is? I doubt it's cash. Daddy wouldn't have touched drugs. A gun? Daddy would have taken a weapon with him. He used to lecture us all the time about firearms." Terp yawned. "Kelly and Bridget seem to think whatever Ace left behind is hidden in a muse's shoe. Would you check the shelves in the dining room?" Callie agreed, after she ran the water in Terp's bathtub. "Mama, why don't you relax in your new tub? I'll add some lavender bubble bath." After helping Terp into her oval soaking tub, Callie tackled the shelves of decorated stilettos in the dining room. She stood on a chair to remove each shoe, examined it, toe to heel, inside and out, and gave it a good shake before she replaced it on the shelves. So many shoes, gleaming in the soft light with faux pearls and metallic beads and sequins, a medley of turquoise and fuchsia, and the traditional Mardi Gras colors of gold, green, and purple. Callie hadn't found a thing. Heaving a sigh, she positioned the last shoe on the glass shelf. Dead end. Callie collapsed in a chair and held her head. What had Ace supposedly stolen from John Reardon? Documents? Photos? Spreadsheets detailing bank accounts and payments? Lists of Reardon's criminal associates? The police had searched Terp's computer along with Callie's laptop and those belonging to her sisters. Would one flash drive hold all the information? Or would Ace have used an external hard drive? Callie chewed her thumbnail. No doubt about it, the Reardons were convinced that Mama had Ace's information on Reardon, and Callie had to find it before Reardon intimidation tactics escalated. The search. Callie rummaged in Mama's toolbox for a hammer and screwdriver. She pulled her mother's business sign off the wooden siding on the front porch and poked the wood filler with the screwdriver. The gap in the siding held a piece of rag and a scrap of screening, and nothing else. Callie hammered the sign back in place and moved on. She suspected whatever information Mama held was on a flash drive, small, like that supposed tube of lipstick her aunt had handed Mama before dinner. In the 2 small bedrooms Mama used for workrooms, Callie patted down each roll of dressmaking fabric, checking for lumps or bulges. She shined her phone flashlight inside each sturdy cardboard tube rolled with fabric and crawled under the industrial sewing machines. She found nothing. Callie next investigated the kitchen and the laundry area. She had spent the previous weekend painting Mama's apartment and had noticed nothing unusual except for some oddly placed electrical outlets, not convenient for a lamp or an ironing board. She unscrewed the dummy outlets, but found them empty. Mama hadn't stocked the pantry, the shelves empty except for some canned goods and plastic storage containers. Callie shook the tin cans, which were sealed shut. While painting the kitchen trim, Callie had discovered rats had chewed the bottom of the pantry door. Callie had pushed baited rat trap deep under the shelf, determined not to have vermin in the duplex. She slipped into Mama's bedroom at the back of the house and called out to reassure her mother. Callie made a circuit of the room, finding an Ace of Hearts playing card in the bedside table drawer. She turned on the small flashlight from the same drawer. It rattled but didn't light. Dead batteries or something else hiding inside. Mama called from her bathtub. Callie replaced the flashlight in the drawer and peeked around the open door. "Just checking on things." Mama nodded and rested her head on the inflatable bath pillow. Callie flipped through the wooden hangers holding her mother's dresses, finding the pockets empty and nothing sewn in the hems. She pulled out a stack of shoe boxes and checked inside each one. At the bottom of the pile, she found her mother's white satin wedding pumps. She fingered something flat under a decorative bow on the toe of the shoe. Callie twisted off the bow and found a lucky 6-piece glued to the underside. She put the shoe on the top closet shelf and moved to her mother's dresser. 2 white satin pincushions trimmed with lace sat in front of her parents' framed wedding photo. Callie squeezed and massaged the pincushions, but suspected they contained nothing except emery sand. Callie turned the studio photo over and pulled off the back cover. Mama's wedding license lay behind the photo, but nothing else. Callie adjusted the heavy metal frame stand before she returned the photo to the dresser. Callie gazed at the portrait of her parents, who had been younger than Callie when they married. Ace and Terp had been mostly happy for over 20 years. She sniffled, until her daddy disappeared. She stood at the base of the back stairs to the upper apartment. Where should she search next? Her aunts had given Mama a new dining room table and chairs and living room sectional delivered directly from the warehouse. No use checking the furniture for hidden flash drives. Callie and her sisters had sanded and painted every inch of the duplex. The floorboards were sound, with nothing hidden underneath. The original floor furnaces had been replaced with an electric heat pumps. Callie climbed the back stairs to the upper apartment and asked her sisters if they found anything unusual in their belongings. The girls shook their head and resumed browsing Netflix offerings before they selected a movie. After she closed the blinds and checked the door locks, Callie walked out on the upper unit front porch. Lights were still on at the Shell station, and few passengers exited the streetcar before it rumbled to the end of the line. St. Paul Street was quiet, except for the occasional dog walker or smoker. Suddenly, the television in the room behind her went silent, followed by her sister's shrieks of dismay. Lights shined in the neighboring houses. Had someone cut their power? Mama was probably still in the bathtub with no light within reach. Callie turned on her cell phone flashlight and went inside. Hush, all of you. Stay here and be quiet. I'll go check on Mama. Mindful of a possible intruder, she tiptoed down the back stairs to Mama's apartment. A playing card was tucked in the doorframe. Queen of Hearts. Callie gasped. Mama was her daddy's Queen of Hearts, and he was her Ace of Hearts. Had Daddy returned? She eased Mama's bedroom door open and shined her phone flashlight. Everything seemed to be in order. Scented candles flickered on the bathtub surround. Mama, where are you? Right here, she said, having a soak in a pile of lavender bubbles. Callie entered the bathroom. Did you notice the lights are out? So they are, Mama yawned. Callie sighed. Woozy and befuddled, Mama was almost asleep. Come, Mama, get up. I need to check the circuit boxes at the back door. She pulled Mama out of the tub, wrapped her in a robe, and walked her to her side of the bed. Where's your phone? You can use the flashlight until I get the power back on. Right here, dear, under my pillow. Mama pulled it out. If you don't mind, I'll send a quick text before I have a little snooze. The Ace of Hearts card was still in the bedside table drawer. Had Daddy left it, or was someone playing games with Mama? Callie blew out the tea light set around the bathtub and crept down the stairs. The circuit box cover hung open, the glass panes on the back door smashed. After Callie flipped the circuits, the air compressors roared into action. She sent a text message to Tex and called 911 to report a break-in. 120 St. Paul Street, Mid-City, at the back door. I still need to search the main floor apartment. She continued to answer the dispatcher's question. Mama's alone in the apartment. I'm going back up there right now. The Queen of Spades returns. Callie crept up the stairs. The lights were turned off in Mama's apartment, the digital clock on the stove flashing after the power outage. As Callie eased through the kitchen door, she spotted cell phone flashlights bouncing bright lights around the dining room. Kelly and Bridget Reardon examined each decorated stiletto before tossing it in a corner. What are we looking for anyway? Kelly whined to her mother. Bridget threw the final shoe on the floor. I have no idea. John is so angry. Terps must know where Ace hid the information. Hands on her broad hips, she mimicked Terps. I'm already overbooked. Would you like a place on my waiting list for next year? Bridget slammed her fist on the table. No, I expect top-of-the-line exclusive gowns from Ace's wife. I told John to lean on her, but all he cares about is whether Ace Bear is dead or alive. Kelly flicked on the light switches in the kitchen and dining room. A dead rat on the doormat followed by breaking and entering? You ladies have had a busy evening. Bridget threw a sequin stiletto at Callie. Where'd she hide it? Terps must have told you everything. Callie dodged the shoe, which thudded against the refrigerator. I have no idea what you're talking about. I've called the police, so you might want to skedaddle out of here while you still have the chance. Bridget and Kelly dropped the shoes they held and headed toward the front door as footsteps sounded in the kitchen. Tex Smith appeared, holding Mama in his arms. She moaned, her head lolling in his muscular forearms. Kelly ran to Mama's side. Get your hands off my Mama! Back off, Kelly. Tex dumped Terps on the dining room table. Holding her still, he reached into his shirt pocket for a syringe. Don't come any closer. Terps gonna tell me everything. First my daddy disappears, and then you want to drug Mama? Tears rolled down Callie's cheeks. What did she ever do to you? Terps looked at Callie and whimpered, Don't give him what he wants. Please, not my Mama. Callie tugged Tex's arm. He pushed her aside. What's going on? John Reardon strolled into the dining room, followed by his wife and daughter. Tex, I told you to find out where Ace hid copies of my business record, not to hurt Terps. You're just a worthless Texan. Take her out to the Escalade. I have a question for her myself. Reardon glanced at his wife and daughter. You can leave. They nodded and held the front door open for Tex. Reardon slammed Callie against the wall. Though she turned and twisted in a desperate attempt to break free, the obese oaf was strong enough to keep her pinned down. Stop it, she screamed. I've done you no harm. Let my Mama go. She's no good to you. Reardon breathed bourbon fumes in her face. Where'd Ace hide the information? Callie looked at the pile of stilettos on the floor. I don't know what you're talking about. Reardon wrung her like a dog shaking a squirrel. Not good enough. Tell me, or say goodbye to your mama. He slapped Callie's face and dumped her on the floor. You got 15 minutes to find what Ace stole. Otherwise, you've seen the last of your mother. What am I looking for? You'll figure it out. 15 minutes. Reardon slammed the front door. Bruised, battered, and very alone, Callie lay in a heap on the floor. Despite her earlier search, 15 minutes wasn't long enough. It was all she had. She struggled to sit up, her back against the wall. Every second counted. All right, Jack. We are at the deliberation.
Well, this kind of sucks, dude.
This is going to be a little bit of an unusual one because what the question is where should Callie look for the flash drive?
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
So Callie is on a tight timeline with no room for error. She needs our help if she's going to find the flash drive and save her mother. Here are the potential locations for the flash drive.
All right.
Okay. House of Rising Sun dress sign outside of the door to Mama's apartment.
Okay.
Crew stiletto heel in the dining room on the shelves.
Haven't we already looked there?
Seemed like both of them looked there twice, but, they didn't actually take the shoes apart or anything.
I guess, yeah.
A pincushion kept on Mama's bedside table.
Okay.
Lipstick tube given by Mama's sister.
All right.
And a broken flashlight stored in Mama's bedroom.
All righty then.
All right, so here are the clues that Callie has to work with as she can, tame the adrenaline rushing through her brain.
Yeah.
Ace downloaded business records from John Reardon to a flash drive before he disappeared last spring. Mama sold the house and moved the family to a duplex. The furniture is new. Only personal items and Mama's dress business were moved. All right,
Okay.
so like Callie said, it's not in the furniture.
Yeah.
Callie saw Mama shove something into the side of the house when she was hanging up her business sign.
Into the side of the house.
Yep.
All right.
Callie's aunt gave Mama the tube of lipstick when she came to the party.
Okay.
The pincushion was in the drawer where Callie found the Queen of Hearts playing card.
Okay.
The flashlight Callie tried to use when the lights went out didn't turn on and sounded like there was something loose inside.
All right.
When Callie asked her mother about the things Ace left, she didn't seem to know where the information was. The only thing Ace said was, quote, think about our wedding day.
All right.
And lastly, the Reardons reported a rumor that the flash drive was hidden in a crew stiletto.
Weird.
Okay, so where should Callie look for the flash drive?
Well, honestly, we've already looked in the stilettos, so I don't think it's there.
Okay, so I'm coloring that red.
If the husband said, think of our wedding night, did she describe her wedding night? Didn't she do that?
Describe the wedding night, just that they were young. There was the wedding photo of them in the heavy frame. There were pincushions sitting in front of it. And Mama also was making a pincushion from leftovers of her wedding dress, on the front porch.
Well, it would kind of stand to reason that it might be the pincushion. I don't see it being in the flashlight. The flashlight may be broken, but... it doesn't have anything to do with the stiletto hint. Doesn't have anything to do with the wedding night hint.
I think you're just thinking that because every flashlight in our house doesn't light.
That's true. None of them work. Actually, I got a flashlight for Christmas. It's pretty nice. It works.
Yeah,
Until
now.
I replace the batteries, but I won't do that when it dies. Let's be honest.
Okay, so you said no to the heel, no to the flashlight, maybe to the pincushion. So that leaves the lipstick tube and the House of Rising Sun dress sign.
So she's already looked in the dress sign, though, hasn't she?
She did, and it said that, she put the screwdriver in where the wood putty was, and she pulled out a piece of screen and I think a piece of cloth.
A piece of screen and a piece of cloth. Well, is the cloth possibly the one that she's making the pincushion out of?
I'm not probably going to find that. I'm scrolling up to try to find it. I don't think it was specific. I think Callie just put the stuff.
Is it like a rag?
Maybe let's go with more of a rag.
So I thought she said it was like some scrap of tissue or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry, I'm not going to find it fast
no,
enough.
you're good. I don't think it's the lipstick tube, you know, because, you could
Oh, I
use it.
found it. She pulled her mother's business sign off the wooden siding on the front porch and poked the wood filler with the screwdriver. The gap in the siding held a piece of rag and a scrap of screening and nothing else,
So it's empty,
aside from those scraps.
aside from those scraps. So I don't think it's in there.
Okay, so we'll color that red.
If it is in there, I don't even know how. And we'll find out eventually, I guess.
And yeah, I'm sorry, I wasn't quite listening when I was scrolling. What did you say in the lipstick tube?
I can't see a reason for it to be in the lipstick tube. He didn't leave. How many cards have been found at this point? Was it 4?
There were 2 Queen of Spades.
2 Queen of Spades that we think represent the mother-daughter.
I thought, no, the Spades were the rear. Yes, the Reardon mother-daughter.
Yes.
There was the Queen of Hearts, which represents Callie's mom.
Yeah.
And the Queen of Clubs, that represents Callie.
That represents Callie.
Yeah.
So that's 4 queens.
Yep.
And we think, we're for certain that those are what they represent?
Unless I just got them mixed up because I didn't go back to scroll. But
Well,
yes,
I'm saying
that's the interpretation.
It doesn't, because if it represented like the muses or whatever, then you could say, oh, it's him trying to say, look, it's your sisters. It's the lipstick.
No, I mean, that's the way Callie explained it was.
So we're going to say it's not
the Queen of
lipstick.
Spades indicated trouble. So she didn't know who the Spades were.
Yeah.
The Queen of Hearts was definitely her mom, and the Queen of Clubs was definitely her.
Then the other 2 could, I guess, be her sisters, right? Doesn't she? No, she has 3 sisters. So no.
There's a lot of sisters.
There's a lot of sisters and aunts. So I think it would probably have to be the pincushion. It's the only object that really does relate back to the wedding.
Okay, I'm turning pincushion green.
I guess the lipstick could relate back to the wedding. But
I guess the color could be a color she wore, but I mean, she did marry 20 years ago, so it's unlikely it was the tuba lipstick, because that would be nasty.
Tuba lipstick, yeah.
My lips are just not.
Wouldn't be the tuba
today,
lipstick.
Everybody.
Yeah, I've noticed that
I don't know what's going on.
Callie has turned into Kelly a couple times, and Kelly is a whole different character.
No.
Yeah.
I said Callie.
Nah, you said Kelly a couple times.
I did not.
Well, there's just a couple times I had to look over and be like, which character are we talking about? Especially seeing as when I play piano, I don't pay as much attention.
Callie.
See? Anyway, yeah, I think I have to go with the pincushion. It feels wrong because it feels like the most obvious choice, though. It's felt like the most obvious from the start.
Well, let's go with pincushion. I'm curious. I don't quite understand what these stiletto heels are like. Like, they threw them and they didn't break, so they weren't glass.
That's true. Well, if they were glass, you'd see in them.
That's true.
So it wouldn't be that hard. No, I guess the stilettos could be hollow and it could be put in there, but at the same time, do the heels really have that much to do with the wedding?
And they have to be pretty big to fit a thumb drive in. And I know thumb drives are still pretty small, but, you would have maybe a little trouble giving it in a full size.
If you need it for the plot, it works.
Okay.
I hate to say it. If we need it for the plot,
if we need it for the plot, it works.
Yeah, magically.
That's going to be our new theme. If you need it for the plot,
it's happened a couple times where it's like, well, it's needed for the plot, so don't question that part too much. You're looking at the wrong side of the whole ordeal. Yeah. All right, we'll go with the pincushion.
All right. Muses to the rescue. Callie crawled to the front door and turned the deadbolt. She fumbled for her phone and sent her sisters a group text, instructing them to stay quiet and come downstairs to Mama's living room. She fingered the Queen of Clubs card she found on her car. Callie stared at it. If she texted the number, it might bring help, or it might bring the Reardons or Tex. Her sister's footsteps thudded across the floor upstairs. Callie took a deep breath and sent a text. Reardon and Tex Smith kidnapped Terp. Help us. A reply immediately popped up. Already on our way. Callie closed her eyes, her head spinning. Who was coming to help? Her 3 sisters slipped into the room, each carrying a cell phone. Callie, what happened? You're hurt. They knelt on the floor next to her. Callie struggled to speak. Reardon kidnapped Mama. He thinks she has something Daddy stole from him. We have 15 minutes to find it before Reardon comes back. She took a breath. Who has a spare flash drive? Mama keeps them in her desk, one of her sisters said. Quick, find one. The rest of you, help me to Mama's room. Hurry. The 3 teens hoisted Callie to her feet. One started opening drawers in Mama's desk, while the other 2 supported Callie as they made their way to the unit at the back, through the unit to the back bedroom. Callie slumped on the bed and opened the nightstand drawer. Another sister charged into the bedroom, now holding a new flash drive in a cardboard box. Perfect. Unwrap it for me, Callie said. She slipped it into her pocket. Callie picked up the flashlight from Terp's nightstand and tried to unscrew it, finally handing it to one of her sisters. Her sister dumped the contents of the flashlight on the quilted coverlet, a silver tube of lipstick, a golden wedding band, and a rolled photo. Callie's hand shook as she unfurled the black and white photo, a duplicate of the wedding portrait on Terp's dresser. Callie squinted at the engraving inside the wedding band. T and A forever. It was Ace's wedding ring, the one he never took off. He left it for Terp? Callie pulled the cover off the lipstick, a pristine tube of bright red, maybe the same shade Mama had worn on her wedding day. Callie replaced the items in the flashlight and returned it to the drawer. Give me a knife and a trash can. Callie continued to sit on the edge of the bed. She pointed to the 2 satin pincushions on Terp's dresser. They're next. Callie and one of her sisters held the pincushions over the trash can and slashed them with the penknives from Terp's kitchen junk drawer. The emery sand splattered into the trash can. Each pincushion had a metal washer used as a weight inside, and nothing else. Callie gulped back a sob. It had been longer than 15 minutes. Where was Reardon? She gestured to Terp's wedding portrait. Last place to look. Callie removed the back from the photo frame and lifted out Terp's wedding certificate and the photo. Nothing else was inside. She stared at the industrial-style metal holder Terp used to hold the portrait. It seemed out of place in Mama's bedroom. Hand me the photo holder, Callie said. She turned it over. The base legs were hollow, sealed on the bottom with duct tape. After slashing the tape with her penknife, she held her phone flashlight over the base legs. A silver flash drive gleamed. Callie pushed the edges of the tape over the opening. Quick, put up the portrait and Quick, put the portrait and stand back on the dresser. Someone banged on the front door. Someone with big, angry male voice. Open up! You better have what I want. Callie's phone chimed with a new text message. We're here, back door. Callie whispered to her sisters to hide. The 3 teens scrambled underneath Terp's walnut 4-poster bed while Callie started down the back stairs. The back door was still bolted, though with the window glass smashed, anyone wearing gloves and a sweatshirt could stick an arm through the shards and unblock the door. Psst, Callie, undo the deadbolt. Terp's sisters, Callie's 4 aunts, stood by the back door, armed with baseball bats. As Callie flipped the bolt, 3 of Terp's 4 sisters swarmed up the stairs. Thanks, Callie. We'll take it from here. Terp sent us a group text a while ago. I'll cover the front. The 4th sister patted a hunting knife in a leather sheath attached to her belt. I'm coming with you all. Callie grabbed a baseball bat from the clutter of sports equipment in the laundry room and followed her aunts. One of the aunts approached the front door, motioning for Callie and the others to stay in the dining room. Callie rubbed the new flash drive against the wall to make it look used and snapped the cap on and off a few times. After her aunt flipped the deadbolt, John Reardon stormed in. Where is it? Terp wouldn't tell me. One of the aunts whispered to Callie, Stay with me. Don't look at Reardon. Give him whatever you've got. Callie nodded and finally crept forward, her aunt clutching her arm. What did you find, Callie? Reardon asked. Terp repeated your name over and over. Callie kept her eyes on the floor and, her hand trembling, handed Reardon the flash drive. You see, easy enough. when you think you're not going to see your mama again. Callie drew a jagged breath. Did Terp say anything else? One of the aunts asked. What's it to you? Roared and Reared. My sister's life. Callie's aunt swung her bat and connected with Reardon's skull. He collapsed like a deflated elephant on the floor. Another aunt whipped out zip ties from her pocket and tied Reardon's wrists together. This guy's huge. I brought extra large just in case. Where's Mama? Callie whispered. The fourth aunt stole through the front door. She's in Reardon's Escalade, unconscious but breathing. Tex Smith must have given her something. I called the EMS. Is Tex out there? Callie asked. Once he discovered the new tires on his car and Reardon's Escalade were slashed, he took off running. Each of her aunts hugged Callie. Good work. You've got this. You look after your sisters. We'll follow the ambulance to the emergency room. One of her aunts promised to send someone to repair the back door. Callie yelled an all clear to her sisters, and when they appeared, she gathered them in a group hug. The EMTs are treating Mama, and after the police take Reardon, we can all go to bed. After Callie and her aunts had given their statements to the police, Callie climbed the stairs to the upper floor and collapsed in a shabby wicker rocking chair on the front porch. Callie called her aunts, who assured her that Terp had been evaluated and was unharmed. A line of black Suburbans with flashing lights filled the street, and New Orleans police officer ordered pedestrians and drivers to move along. Texas Shell Station was dark, police officers swarming his home next door. A shadow moved behind the bougainvillea bush in front of the duplex as someone whistled the opening bars of House of the Rising Sun. A playing card fluttered to the ground before a shadow moved away. Ace smiled. It had to be an Ace of Hearts. The end.
Callie smiled, not Ace. Callie smiled. It had to be the Ace of Hearts. Anyway.
That's what you get when your eyes go ahead. Callie smiled. It had to be the Ace of Hearts.
So I was wrong.
Well, you were wrong, but I realized that Margaret and I, in editing this, the ending changed a bit, and
You don't say.
Yeah, don't say. So the potential locations we gave you
didn't include the actual location. Do I get points? I feel like I get a point.
You get a point, and I am making an edit right now so that when this is in the anthology.
Wow. Sabotage from the start. See, I felt like it couldn't be the pincushions because she had already searched them before we even got to the deliberation and said that it was just the weighted sand. So I was just kind of like, well, I don't really know what's going on here, but all right. Yeah, it was a unique case of, I swear, none of them did it. I swear, none of them has reason to be the real location. But the best part is that you couldn't have added a location during the deliberation if you had remembered, or else I would have immediately picked that one.
Because you can see over my shoulder.
Yeah, so you couldn't have been
now.
By the way, actually there's another location I forgot to tell you.
Now as location 4 is picture frame holding Mama's Best Day.
Mama's Best Day, yeah. So the main difference between the pincushion and the picture frame is simply that the pincushion hasn't been searched. They both have the same meaning, though. Or the pincushion had already been searched.
The frame had been searched, but this was sitting in the thing that held the frame.
Yeah. So, the frame still hadn't really been fully searched because, it was the inside of the frame, whatever, the frame holder. But anyway, yeah, it was a good. I liked that one.
It definitely was a little different with the deliberation not being about a person but being about a place.
Yeah, I will say I noticed that you stopped trying to pronounce Terpsichore.
I have no confidence. I have no confidence in saying that after between. Hearing it right and hearing it wrong, and now my brain is just...
I looked over a couple of times, and I was like, that's the full name. You just said Terp.
I did.
Terpsichore.
Yeah, is that the right one or the wrong one?
Terpsichore is the wrong one. That's the wrong one.
Thanks for not calling me out on it in front of everyone.
I also noticed you skipped Calliope or whatever.
Yes, because I keep seeing Calliope, and I know it's not right.
Calliope?
Calliope.
Something like that,
Calliope. Clearly, I need to spend more time with my Greek muses.
Apparently, between the Greek and the French, that was a hard one.
Oh. I really adore the French language, but it eludes me.
Ah, well,
So
that's fair. It eludes me too. That's why
you spent 4 years in it.
it's gone, man. It eluded me.
No, you can still say Henri.
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 Yep, something like it.
So Margaret is a new author for us.
Yeah.
Margaret S. Hamilton is the author of over 30 short stories, many of them set in fictional small town of Jericho, Ohio. She has published stories set in, oh man, here's another hard to say word. It's a French word. Dordogne, the Dordogne region of southwest France, Cape Cod, New Orleans, and 1950 Cincinnati. Margaret's
debut. Hold on. Let me get the mic out. All right.
Let Jack read it.
Yeah, don't
Here.
worry, guys.
Here,
I got it.
I'll just give you the
Margaret's debut traditional mystery, What the Artist Left Behind, is on submission. It was a 2019 Daphne Mainstream Mystery finalist. She is writing the next 2 books in her Jericho Mysteries series about amateur sleuth Lizzie Christopher. Margaret is a member of Sisters in Crime and Mystery Writers of America and blogs monthly on the Writers Who Kill blog. She lives in suburban Cincinnati with her husband and 2 standard poodles, Jazz and Louie. She is an avid traveler, gardener, and photographer. Find more about Margaret S. Hamilton at the official website of Margaret S. Hamilton. She's on Facebook. You read the rest of it. I can't read it. But yeah, she's there.
Links are in the show notes. Do you want to read this on witness intimidation too?
Of course.
Here, I can make it
Witness
bigger.
intimidation is an old crime itself, and it actually is a crime. Witness intimidation. Witness what? Hold on.
It's also called witness tampering.
It is actually a crime. And it actually is a crime. That's the sentence. I'm going to shut up now. From the Attorney General of Pennsylvania comes the case very recent. Dude, you got to start proofreading these before you give them to me. From the Attorney General of Pennsylvania comes the very recent case of Dushawn Ellis, who is facing charges of human trafficking. While in jail, he had put out a $20,000 hit on the witness. Ellis approached another inmate of the county prison who knew the witness and used that connection and the bounty to video chat with the witness and personally make the threat. The witness held their ground, and Ellis was charged with 2 counts of felony, witness intimidation, and 1 count of obstruction of justice. He was convicted by a jury in February of this year, 2024. Wait, that was last year.
Yeah.
My bad. We are recording this on December 31st. It is the last day of this year. Anyway, he was convicted in February of 2024, was sentenced to 8.5 to 22 years, and the original human trafficking was ongoing as of that time.
The case was still going. So I thought this was somewhat not amusing, but amusing, because here he used witness intimidation to try to get out of the human trafficking. That he got convicted of and sentenced, while the other case is still pending.
Oh, wow.
So he didn't play that well at all.
No, not really. He just kind of ended that for himself. Well, that wraps up the episode of Mysteries to Die For. Support our show by subscribing, telling a mystery lover about us, and giving us a 5-star review. Check out our new website, M2D and 4 podcast.com for links to this year's authors. Mysteries to Die For is hosted by TG Wolff and Jack Wolff. Ace of Hearts was written by Margaret S. Hamilton. Music and production are by Jack Wolff, yours truly. Episode art is by TG Wolff, the other one truly. And join us next week for a Toe Tag, which is the first chapter from a fresh release in the mystery, crime, or thriller genre. Then come back in 2 weeks for our next original story, where missing person is the featured murderless crime. It's The Florida Man Cometh by Jim Winter. Take it away, Jack.
As Jack's reading all that to you, he is still playing the piano.
Kind of, one-handed and mindlessly.
Well, that's pretty much the way I spoke today, so I apologize to Margaret and to all of you for all of my trips, flips, and foibles. And thank you, Jack, for wrapping it up and taking us out.
Of course.